Hello, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time, do consider subscribing. My name is Beth Osiki, and in this episode I'll be showing you how to cut palazzo pants that have elastic waistbands. Keep watching. So we're going to start by folding our fabric into two, and I have a measurement on the screen so we can refer back to it. After that, I go ahead and draw a straight line on the top just to make sure it's straight, because most times the fabric doesn't come straight. After that, I'm going to measure out her length, which is 40, and add 4 inches to it. I'm adding 4 inches to it because I need 2 inches allowance on the top and on the bottom. Next thing I do is to mark out my 2 inches allowance on the top so I do not forget it's there. The 2 inches allowance on the top, it's for the elastic that's going to be in the waistband. It's going to make sense later on when you see me sewing this. So the next thing I do is to measure 11 inches for the crotch. I went with 11 inches because she wanted it super high-waisted. So I mark out my line there and draw a straight line all the way so that I can have a guide on where to place my crotch and also where to measure my thigh. The next thing I need to do is to measure out her waist, but in this case I would not be using her waist because it has an elastic waistband. It does not have a zipper, so one way or another it has to pass through her hip. So I'll be using her hip, and what you see me doing right now is dividing her hip by 4, and then I'm going to place it on the top of the fabric. So that's where the waist is supposed to be, but I'm using the hip measurement so it can pass through. So I'm going to measure that. You do not need to add any allowance to this because the allowance is going to be at the back of the pants. Now that we've measured out the waist, the next thing we need to do is to mark out our thigh. So we're going to do this by dividing her thigh measurement, which is 26 by 2. So that gives us 13. And remember the crotch line I marked out initially? That's this line. Yeah, I'm going to place out that measurement 13 and mark it out there. So that's where her thigh is going to be. That's the wideness. And then I go ahead to draw a straight line from the waist. So it's like an L shape. And then I make a curve to connect them. You can do this with a French curve, but personally I prefer freehand. So feel free to do what you want. Now the next step is connecting this to our base. Now this depends on the style. Since I'm making palazzo pants, I can decide to just make this straight. It's going to make it super big. Or I can decide to make it penciled and bend it a little to the side to make it curved like so. It depends on the style you're going with. So we cut out our markings and then we fold the fabric into 2 again. This time we're cutting our back layer. So we arrange it. Notice that I'm leaving space on the top. I'm doing this because the back usually is higher than the front. So I measure 2 inches above the waistline and then 2.5 inches actually on that part. I do this because she has a big butt. Somebody like me with a small butt, I can use like 2. And then I keep adding those allowance. See why we did not add any allowance to the waist measurement? Because we add all this at the back. Then I go ahead and mark 2 inches there too. So next thing I'm going to do is to slant the waist. So we have to make the waist meet. So we're going to start from the side and slant it up to go meet the 2 inches which we measured. And then we're just going to like connect the dots. So the same 2 inches rule apply to the feet of the pants, but since this is palazzo trouser, it's actually optional, so it depends on you because we already have enough allowance, so we really don't need the 2 inches on the foot. So this is what the front and the back looks like when it's been cut, and this is an up close view. You can see the waist part which I took up and the 2 inches I added to the top and to the back of the pants. So this is what it should look like when you've cut it out. So next I'm going to mark for my pockets. So I do that by measuring 3 inches on the side of the pants, and then from that 3 inches mark I'm going to mark in 7 inches. So that's where the hand is going to go into the pocket. When I sew this, it's going to make much more sense. So I'm going to take just the 2 layers, which is the front part of the trousers, and I'm going to notch where that pocket's going to be so I can know exactly where to place it. So 3 inches from the top, and then from that 3 inches 7 inches downwards, and then notch. So I'll just be using a regular cotton fabric for the inner part of my pocket. To cut that, I'm just going to need to fold this into 4 like so. And then when I fold it into 4, I'm going to measure out 14 inches. Now this depends on how deep you want the pocket to be. Normally I like to go with anywhere between 12 to 14 inches for the length, and then 7 inches for the width. So like so, and then just mark it and make a curve, and that's your pocket. And that, guys, is how I cut these pants. So if you want to see me stitch it together, I'm going to be posting that in a few days. So don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you get a notification when I post the next video on Sunday. Thanks for watching, and bye.